Am I the a-hole for saying I don't see why I'd name my child after my stepmother when both her grandkids are? My stepmother has 3 kids, 32 male, 29 female, and 24 female. My dad has me, 26 female. They got married when I was 5 and her kids were 3, 8, and 11. My mom died 3 years into their marriage, and I went from every other weekend to full-time there. My stepmother started treating me the very same as her kids and started dropping the step. I never did. She's now a grandmother to 2 grandkids. Both are named after her. Granddaughter has her first name as a first name. Grandson has a male variant of her first name. I had my daughter a couple of weeks ago and named her after my mom and my husband's mom. The name caused quite the stir because my stepmother's name was not part of her name. I didn't engage at first, but then a couple of days ago, I called into a Zoom session with my dad, stepmother, and her kids, where they asked why her name was excluded when she's named after both grandmothers. My response was I wanted to name her after my mom and my husband's mom, who is still alive, and that she, stepmother, already has both her grandkids named after her. She was very upset and left crying. My dad told me the way I say it makes it seem like she's not my little one's grandmother. Her 2 oldest were like, yeah. So I said their mom was my little one's grandmother, the same way my dad is their kid's grandfather, and that she's known as a step-grandparent. They said that was different, and I told them it wasn't. My dad told me it was very different because his wife became my mom after my mom's death. So tell me y'all, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Totally not the a-hole. Name your kid what you want. It isn't a damn purity of love test. It's the kid's name. There's no rule forcing you to follow the convention that the other kids set, even if this was your natural-born mom, grandma, great-grandma, or Dutch uncle. Damnation. People are way too petty. Exactly. Not the a-hole. It was nice of her 2 other kids to name their children after her. But you don't have to, and she has no right to it. What? His wife became your mom after your mom's death? And he just decided that. Yeah, no, not the a-hole at all. She's your mom if you say so. You decide who you view as your mom. This sits wrong with me. He nor his wife have any say in the child's name, and you have every right to name your daughter however you like. Seriously, this is what I was thinking. Just because she passed doesn't make her not your mother anymore. Definitely not the a-hole. Should ask Dad if any of his parents pass away and the other remarries. Does that mean they are the new daddy/mummy? Not the a-hole. A completely selfish and ridiculous reaction on the part of your stepmother. She has 2 legacies on her name. Why does she need a 3rd? My guess is she expected all 4 of us to name our firsts after her. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to go to my dad's unless I'm fed properly? I'm 17 female and my parents are separated. My dad lives in another country, so I don't see him much except for holidays. He lives in Germany with my stepmom and 9-year-old little sister. I don't like my stepmom at all, mainly because of her parenting style. She's a complete helicopter parent. I don't think my sister has ever actually been out of an adult's sight in her life. She's never just played outside with her friends or anything. And the most annoying for me is that she has never eaten a hot meal. Like it's cold being served to her. And the reasoning is it might burn her mouth. She's also never stayed up past 7 p.m. Things that apply to my sister also apply to me too. When I'm at my dad's, I'm usually there for 2+ weeks at a time. And in that entire time, I don't eat anything hot. And I'm pretty much confined to my room, which has a bed and that's it, after 7. I can live with having to stay in my room, but not with being fed cold food. I have ARFID, and an already limited diet. I can barely stomach food warm, let alone cold. Yesterday, my dad rang me about booking flights for the summer, and I said no. He tried to guilt me into going, and I said I'm not going unless I'm treated like I should be. I told him I will not be going unless everything I eat is hot, and that I don't care if it means eating before my sister, and that I won't be subjected to her stupid rules anymore. My dad contacted my mom, and my mom said I was an a-hole to act so spoiled. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. While cold pizza is food of the gods, every meal for 2 weeks is torture. Try to work it out so you can spend time with your father, even if you have to warm everything yourself. I can't eat reheated food. Not Dayhall. Are you expected to go to bed at 7 p.m. at age 17? You need to explain to your dad that this is not normal. Also, say you'd like to prep your own food to fit into your dietary requirements. Get your mom to teach you before you go if you don't know how. Explain what you've said here to your mom and get her to back you up when she next speaks with your dad. Good luck. I'm not allowed to use the kitchen at their house in case, God forbid, I touch a hot tray or something. Has something burn-related ever happened to your stepmother? This is not normal behavior, and her fixation on the danger of hot objects seems to indicate there is something in her past. Not as far as I'm aware, she's just ridiculously protective. Not Dayhall. Have you tried explaining the full situation to your mom? Regardless, your dad is refusing to compromise, and his rules will mean that it is not a viable place for you to stay. There are plenty of ways to manage this, like letting you cook your own meals as you are 17, but if he is not willing to compromise, then you are not willing to put yourself in a miserable position. This. Opie is transitioning into an adult. She should be allowed to make some decisions, like what to eat and the temperature. That said, 9-year-olds are able to eat hot food. In fact, many 9-year-olds can operate a toaster, kettle, microwave. They can cook 2-minute noodles, etc. for themselves. Stepmom is abusing her child. Food is such an integral part of most people's lives, but stepsis may grow up to be on the fringes, not knowing the rules that everyone else knew by 9. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for not helping my parents with taking care of my brother anymore? My parents didn't plan on having my brother because they were already older. My mom had him when I was 13, and after my brother was born, I basically had to help out with him a lot. He was super hyper as heck as a kid, so they didn't have the energy for that. Neither of them goes to any of his games, so I have to take him. Also the one taking him to practice, taking/picking him up from school. Took him with me if I was going with my friends on weekends, or watched him when we were home. After I moved out, they were still asking for help with him. I felt bad saying no because he's my brother and I love him. He's 9 now and I'm 22. Me and my girlfriend found out she's pregnant over a week ago, so we're excited getting ready for that. The other day, my parents were asking how we're gonna work it out with Tyler, my brother, and they asked work what out? They said, well, obviously they'd still need help with him, so we should plan out how it's gonna be with me helping out with both Tyler and my baby. I thought it was sort of obvious that I'd be too busy with work and a baby, but I told them they're gonna have to take over since I've got a kid now. They both seemed irritated by that, because Tyler is closer to me and I look after him a lot. I should also be considering his place here. It's hard to say stuff against them, but I ended up saying, then they need to step up and parent him now because I've got my own kid we need to get ready for. Like, I've tried in the past to not have that whole responsibility on me, but I always end up feeling bad for not helping them. This is the first time I try not to give in to it. Obviously, they lost their crap on me for not thinking about Tyler and stuff. We're not talking, but they had said a bunch of stuff about me turning my back on my brother and them. And Tyler's gonna know now that I don't care about him. Which I don't want him to feel that way. But I can't just take care of him like I used to before. My girlfriend and I got a family coming, so we're gonna have our own lives. Still, like, I can't stop thinking about it. I know it sounds weird, but I do feel bad about not helping them anymore. Am I being the a-hole? Edit. So, should have added this to the post. We're moving before our baby is born. It's a 17 to 18 hour drive away, so being physically there in Tyler's life is just not gonna be possible at all once our baby's here and we're both working. Also, for those of you saying I should adopt Tyler, I'm 22 and about to have a kid. We don't have that kind of money to support another child, which is why I'm telling my parents they're gonna have to step up now. Now for the top comments. Not Dayhole. This is their son in question. They're turning their backs on him. They can't force him onto you, even if you're his brother. He's their responsibility. Also get this, as per the OP in a different comment, the parents are 51. I thought they would be late 60s at the very least. WTF? Unless they're both disabled, that should not be a problem. These people are just lazy. Not Dayhole. But if your brother will be neglected, you might have to make some tough calls to intervene on his behalf. You've essentially been another parent at this point, which is beyond your control. But you starting your life is beyond his control. And by tough calls, I mean if you feel he's being neglected, being forced to give up sports, etc., then Tyler may need to live with someone else, or you may have to get someone involved. Just to piggyback on this, at the least, Opie needs to have a conversation with Tyler and explain that with the baby coming, he won't have as much time to spend with him. But he still loves him and will always be there for him. Who knows what the parents will tell Tyler? Opie needs to make it clear he still loves his brother. Info. Is there a reason your parents don't go to any of his games, etc. beyond just not having the energy for it? Because they don't like them. Now for the last story. Would I be the a-hole if I didn't allow my parents to visit their grandchild until we get home from the hospital? I'm 27, currently 37.5 weeks pregnant, and my husband, 34, and I decided that we wanted to wait until after we get home from the hospital after the delivery of our child, so that we could be more comfortable. The midwives also agreed that it would be a good idea as I can only have 2 people in the room at once. I'm at high risk of PPD as I have bipolar disorder. I have managed to get it under control through years of therapy and medication, but I absolutely want my husband there for support. At most, if everything goes well, we'd be home the following morning. We spoke to my husband's mom and his stepdad, and they're fine with waiting. His dad and stepmom live in a different state and will meet our child when we can visit them. My parents, however, are livid that we even dare think of doing that. I asked my dad to respect our wishes that we want to use that time for me to recover, and so we can spend time with our daughter, and he blew up at me, saying they're the grandparents and they have a right to see their grandchild within the first 24 hours she's born. I mentioned that if they came to see her, my husband couldn't be in the room as they want to meet her at the same time. My dad doesn't care and said we can get over it. This is their right. Mom also jumped in and said, what if something happens? They want to see her. I think it's very hypocritical of them as my mom's parents didn't see me within the 24-hour period and they are demanding that we do what they want. They both said they wouldn't even be 20 minutes, but I know once they see and hold her, they will refuse to leave and will end up stressing me out. Especially my dad, because it rarely seems like he respects me as a person, and I'm always in the wrong. Would I be the a-hole if I told them they had to wait until we can get home and get comfortable before allowing them to meet their grandchild? Not the a-hole. They don't have rights. Meeting your baby is a privilege. Your well-being comes first. Set boundaries and stick to them. It's okay not to open the door if they stop by against your wishes. You need to set the tone now, because if they do not respect your parenting decisions, will they feed the baby food she is not allowed to have? Ignore nap time? Ignore your parenting tools? Thank you. I didn't think of that. I will be talking to my husband about establishing boundaries with the grandparents. If you don't draw a line now with this BS, they'll be bulldozing you guys forever. They don't have any rights to see your child. Doesn't matter if you share DNA with them. Protect your family, your health, your autonomy. They can wait as long as necessary until you and your husband feel ready. Do not back down on this. Not the a-hole, but tell the nurses and doctor at the hospital so they can keep your parents out, because otherwise your parents will barge right in. The staff are used to dealing with family like that. Your parents go on about their right, but what about your right as the mother? Next, they're going to be demanding overnight visits with a newborn at their house. Don't say yes to that either. I will be meeting with the midwives tomorrow, so I'll inform them of what is going on and what our wishes are. I'm very concerned about their behavior getting worse / more demanding, so I'm gonna talk to my husband about establishing boundaries ASAP. Not the a-hole. No one other than you and your husband have a right to your child. Your parents apparently don't even see you as a person. You're an incubator to them. They don't give a damn about the tall growing and giving birth to a baby will take on you physically or mentally, or about the tall separating you from the most important support person you have will take. They care only about access to a baby they seem to view as theirs, not yours. My advice? Tell no one when you go into labor. Tell no one when the baby is born. Tell no one until you are comfortably home, ready for visitors, and ready for your parents to knock on your door. If that's the next day or the next week, take whatever time you need. Also remember, your front door has a lock. If your parents have a key, change the locks right now. You don't have to answer the door just because they showed up. Thank you, and I fully agree with you. They don't seem to see me as a person anymore, especially my dad. We will definitely be keeping quiet about the labor, and we'll need to have a discussion with my parents about boundaries.